All right, we are back live on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter, how we doing, man?
Good, man. Good. It's a nice little Monday evening. Got a lot going on. Obviously, Monday Night Football about to kick off. Had a good morning. Got up, got to the gym, and then got some work done, and then just getting ready. College basketball's back. I kind of forgot about college basketball for a while there, and it's obviously early in the season, but my Kentucky Wildcats are playing, so I got that on in the background right now, and just great little Monday, man. Can't complain about a thing. How about you, man? How was your day?
Can't complain at all. I am just hanging around, enjoying the time off. We got the election going on tomorrow, so
everybody get out and vote. Now, I don't care who you're voting for, just go do it. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Whoever you support them, but just make sure you get out there and vote. And it's already starting. We got Zach jumping in early. Paper champs, Notre Dame football. Come on, bro. I haven't even brought up Notre Dame yet. You already going to start? But
we haven't even really started yet. But
yeah, already getting to it. But other than that, we had a great weekend of college football. We talked a little bit about it on Saturday and everything like that. But no, man, it was a fun weekend, and getting ready for another exciting week as we get into November football, which I believe there's a lot of coaches that have said it, but September and October are for pretenders. November is for contenders. So this is when shit gets real, is this month right here.
Yes. Yeah. We are starting to separate from the pack. And also the other thing too is that while we got people here, let's hit the like and subscribe button. We've seen an uptick in subscribers real quick. I wanted to get this in early in the show, but hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow the show. But yeah, Carter, you're exactly right. November football, we have had a huge uptick in, some of the teams that you thought started out 5-0, 6-0 have dropped 3 or 4. Have dropped 3 or 4 games in a row. So, you still got teams that are hot.
Yeah, you've got some schools that are proving themselves. You've got other schools that were in the conversation, maybe even won a national title that last year that are just hoping to get bowl eligible this year. I mean, it's a big difference a year makes, right? And so we got a lot to talk about here, but I do want to jump just a couple announcements before we jump into the show here, get things moving. A reminder, we got a live show Saturday up in Canton, Ohio. It's going to be at Cigar 30 in Canton. Look it up. I'll be putting out graphics tomorrow. I got some things in the work, and so follow our social media. We'll blast it out there, everything like that. But Cigar 30, 12 o'clock Saturday. We're going to be going live from Cigar 30, the members lounge. So we'll be having some cigars, hanging out, probably have a bourbon or two, just relaxing and watching some football and chopping it up. So if you're in the area and you got nothing else to do, it's a Saturday. You don't got work. If you ain't got kids, you ain't got nothing else to do, come out and show up, hang out with me, Duke, and Richie will be there. I'm trying to get a couple other people to show up. We'll see if they do. But that's this Saturday, November 9th at Cigar 30 in Canton, Ohio. And then a reminder, a little bit less than a month from then, on Saturday, December 7th, we are going to be doing a live show at Sigario, Sigaro Lounge in Hubbard, Ohio. And so another cigar lounge. Listen, I love cigars. I love bourbon. So it just makes sense. They reached out. I was like, absolutely, let's do it. So Championship Saturday in Hubbard, Ohio, December 7th. We're going to be going live again at noon. It'll be going live during like the Big 12 championship game that nobody cares about. But we'll be getting ready for all the championship games, Big 10 championship, ACC, SEC, all the big time games. We'll be getting you ready for that. So if you live in the area or if you want to make the trip, it's a fun little joint. We got all kinds of TVs, bourbon, drinks, cigars, whatever you want. We got it. And so we'll be up there again, me, Richie, and Duke on December 7th. More info to come on that one as well. But just wanted to get that stuff out of the way before we jumped into the show.
All right. With that being said, I guess let's hit it.
Went around social media, got some stuff, and I found some interesting things. And obviously, we know the Mexican Manziel, the Mexicano Manziel, Diego Pavia beat Auburn this past weekend. And do you know what his record is now against Hugh Freeze?
It's very good.
Yeah, 3-0, baby. He's 3-0 against Hugh Freeze. Dude just doesn't lose. And he also is undefeated against the state of Alabama, right?
Yes.
So there's just something about Hugh Freeze in the state of Alabama. He's got their number. Big win for Vandy. Another big win, I believe. And I saw an interesting stat. So would you believe this? Do you know that the Vanderbilt Commodores? Yeah, not the Comrades. That's the fucking Russians. But the Commodores have the same number of top 5 wins since the year 2000 as the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Ooh, that is tough sledding.
So Vandy and Penn State, same program.
I think it might have been the guys over at MPW Digital were saying the last time Vandy beat Alabama and Auburn in the same year was like in the 40s or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so he's making his mark on. I mean, I'm trying to think. Obviously, Jay Cutler went to Vandy. I was about to say he might be the best Vanderbilt quarterback of all time, but Jay Cutler went there. So,
hey, our guy's Smoking Jay.
Yeah, so he's no Jay Cutler, but he does have more impressive victories. Probably, I don't think Jay Cutler ever beat Alabama.
I'm not sure what's on Cutler's win list. I'll have to look that up.
And then so that was interesting. And obviously Vandy, it's a fun story, but it's a nothing burger. They're not of consequence still. The only thing they've done is upset Alabama. And just like SEC football, cigars, bourbon, and football, it just means more.
Right.
And then another Vanderbilt player. I thought this is crazy. So Brian Longwell, who's a linebacker for the Vanderbilt Commodores, put this tweet out after, I believe, after the win. But he was being recruited. Oops, wrong button. Sorry, let me put this up here. Was being recruited back in 2022, it looks like. And he received this text on December 25th. So Christmas morning at just before 6 a.m. that just said, "Sorry, bud, we're not going to sign a high school linebacker in this class. You're a great player. Hope you guys have have a Merry Christmas." Like, bro, the disrespect. The disrespect to send that text on Christmas morning. Like, the kid's just trying to get a scholarship to get his college football, play college football and get his college paid for. And like, you as a coach have nothing better to do at 6 a.m. on Christmas morning than to text a kid and tell him you're not going to honor the scholarship. Like, you're not offering him.
That's Auburn's
that could have waited.
Freeze. That's Auburn's Hugh Freeze, baby.
I mean, that couldn't have waited. That couldn't have waited a day. Like, let him enjoy his Christmas. Instead, he just got, because who knows, that might have been like his dream school, and you just ruined his entire Christmas. Like, goddamn. Just brutal.
Auburn's Hugh Freeze, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, he has no problem just being a complete asshole to players, throwing his own players under the bus, etc. So I'm not shocked that would be matriculating down his staff, because I don't believe that text came from Hugh directly. I'm sure it was one of his position coaches or something like that. But he took advantage of it. Obviously, ended up at Vandy, got to play Auburn last weekend and beat them. So good for him. Good for him. And so sticking with some SEC stuff, don't want to spend too much time on the SEC. However, it is interesting. Obviously, we have talked at length about the University of Florida. And I think everybody here knows that Duke is just completely irrational when it comes to the University of Florida and thinks that somehow G5 Billy Napier is going to keep his job. But the GOAT had something to say about it. And so I think, let me see if I have both. I think I just had this one. Let me see. No, I don't. Yeah, hold on. I do have it. 1 second. Sorry.
Because I was just wondering.
Nick Saban came out. What's that?
I was just wondering whenever you pull it up if
but
you
Nick
could read
Saban
it.
came out and he had this to say. Yeah. So he said, when asking about Billy Napier's struggles at Florida, he said, "Well, I think maybe the problem isn't the coaches. They should have taken advantage of building better facilities when Urban Meyer was there. What's their collective been like? How have they adapted to this new model of college football? So it's not just the coaches. When you've been through 4 coaches that haven't had success, there's something else that people should be looking at." What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm not shocked because Urban said it, and Zach has said it. Like back when they were on the Natty run, they didn't even have an indoor facility. Like how do you not have an indoor facility at all? And it's just, I can't.
Yep, I mean,
I'm not shocked by that.
No, I agree, and I mean they had decent facilities when Urban was there. It's I don't know if you can really blame the facilities. Like, it seems like an excuse to me. I think Saban is just isn't Napier a Saban guy?
Yeah, he was at Alabama.
So it sounds like Saban just making an excuse for somebody that he thinks is a good coach that hasn't been successful. The facilities at Florida when Urban was there, at least, I don't know what they're like now, but they were fine. They were great. The weight room, everything like that. Thing is, you don't need an indoor facility in Gainesville, Florida. What do you need that for?
I mean, everybody has one. Everybody has one.
Well, I mean, they have like an indoor facility, but they don't have an indoor 100-yard field. But they have an indoor facility that has the weight room, that has sprint fields, that has everything else you need. But you don't need a full football field in Gainesville, Florida. You can practice outside 99% of the time.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as an updated indoor facility, as far as like a football building.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, but I don't think that's the issue. I do think that the issue might be more than the coaches. Maybe you have to look at, which I forget when the AD came on, because the AD is no longer fully. So it's a new AD, and he brought in Billy Napier, right?
Yeah. And you know, you can't argue with the track record of what Florida has done. I mean, they fired 4 guys in 7 years, or maybe 8 or 10 years, but you cannot keep firing guys because you're building no continuity at some point. Like Dan Mullen, I wouldn't have fired Dan Mullen. I mean, you could say what you want about Dan, but you know, they were at least trending in the right direction, and he has one bad year, so you get rid of him, and it's like, it's I don't think the coaching now, McElwain, I would have dumped him, but
I don't disagree. Although Dan Mullen, I think it was more recruiting based. I just don't think Dan Mullen was ever going to be successful there, so I had no problem them getting. And the new AD is the one that fired Dan Mullen.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, it's the same thing that I mean, it's not going to happen at Ohio State, but like, let's say Ross Bjork came in, Ryan Day lost 3 games this year. Is Ryan Day a bad coach? No, but would Ross Bjork fire him? Maybe, because he's a new AD. He wants to get his own guy in there. So I have no issue with that. It's the same thing that happens in the NFL whenever you get a new GM or a new president or whatever. They want to get their own guys. And so that I don't have as much issue with. But I don't know. I blaming it on the facilities and like, why didn't you build better facilities when Urban was there? I don't think that's the issue.
I think Florida has a Florida problem. I think you can exchange the names of the coaches, athletic directors, but I think Florida has a Florida problem. You know, we've went round and round about this, but I'm just in my personal opinion, I don't think that job's got the luster it once had.
Everybody I talk to still says it does, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. I think it's losing it, but at the same time, there's not like, we've gone through this before. There's not that many jobs that you can name that you would take over it.
I would take Texas A&M over it. Resources. Okay. Yeah. I'm telling you, resources.
I think you underestimate Florida's resources, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, they sure as hell ain't spending them. But then again, you know, whenever you look at who Billy's lost to, he's lost to Georgia, Miami, Texas A&M. He's lost to some pretty good teams. So, is it really that bad? Because I mean, because if you fire him, you lose Lagway, and you're literally starting off at a worse point than where he started.
Who says you lose Lagway?
Lagway's gone if Billy's gone. That's a fact.
I think it depends on who you get.
No. Nope. So
you're telling me if they got Nick Saban, he wouldn't stay?
Saban ain't coming out of retirement.
I understand that, but you're okay. They get Urban Meyer. He's not staying. Oh, Lagway 100% stays if Urban's the coach. No. 100%.
I don't think Urban would come out of retirement because
I'm not saying that's not the argument. I'm not saying that he would take the job. I'm saying if you found a way to make him take the job, Lagway's not leaving if somebody like Urban Meyer comes in to coach the team.
I'll have to put it in the private chat.
Anyways. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Florida has that. I don't think that's the issue. But we'll see. I mean, if they go 5-7, like I said, they would. Napier's gone.
But here's my thing. If you fire him for going 5-7 with that schedule, it's a joke. Like, you are literally a joke. You're a shell. You might as well pack it up and fold it up.
No. There has to be some sort of standard.
Like, he's got the hardest schedule in 20 years.
I don't care. Like, if you're a serious business or a serious program, you have to have some sort of standard. You can't just go lose $1 million a year as a business and be like, well, the economy was rough.
I don't think that it would. I don't think it's beneficial to fire him. I just don't. I think you'll be worse than what you were if you fire him.
We'll see.
Because you're going to lose Lagway, probably most of your recruiting class. So what are you going to really have? A bunch of transfers again?
This is my least favorite argument ever. And I will tell you why. Who are you hiring? Anybody. Literally anybody.
That is not an answer. I am holding you on that
we can go through all the candidates. What do you mean? We can go through all the candidates you can get.
Yes. So take every coach that's in the college football playoff off the table, and then tell me who you're going to hire.
Okay. Well, first of all, why are you trying to hire college football playoff coaches?
You're not going to get any coordinator or coach outside in the college football
100%
playoff.
You can get a coordinator. He's not going to leave. But you can get him.
He's not going to leave, and he's not going to show up until January or until they're done.
Yeah, that's fine. That's happened. What do you mean? That's happened all the time.
Well, you see how well that worked out in Colorado. When
What do you
Dion
mean?
decided to coach through the bowl game, he had to put a recruiting class together in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm
Because
not worried about that. Like, what do you
I
like?
would be
That's
worried
happened so
about
many
that.
times. Tom Herman coached in the bowl game and then went to Houston in mid-January and took Houston to a 12-win season. What are you
But
talking
they
about? It
never had
happens all the
there
time.
was no transfer portal back then.
I understand that it's different now, but
yeah, that's a huge deal because the portal opens up before you can hire somebody. So if you fire Napier, you don't know who the coach is. All those kids are leaving.
no, you can hire him before the playoffs end. You can hire him and then say, yeah, you can do your job. It happens all the time with coordinators. They take a head coaching job and stay on and through the postseason, and they do both jobs at once. It happens all the time. Yeah, I didn't say he was good, but here's what you don't do. You definitely don't accept mediocrity because you don't know if you can get better. We've gone over this so many times. Let's say your girl cheats on you once a year. Are you going to be cool with that because you don't know if you can get a hotter girl?
This year is look at the teams he's lost to. They're all top 25 teams.
All right. We're really doing this right now, huh?
I'm just saying.
No,
Miami undefeated.
We can do it. I didn't know this is where we were going to go tonight, but we can do it. It doesn't matter. You can't lose 7 games at the University of Florida and keep your job. You can't not make a bowl game at the University of Florida and keep your job.
I don't think he has a choice. Look at the roster. He has no choice.
Whose fault is that?
It's because he hasn't been able to build anything. He's in year 2. He just
I've seen year 2 coaches win national championships, so I don't know what you're talking about.
And not the transfer portal era.
Anyways,
college
Miami,
football has changed.
A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss. Those are all losses. And they're all ranked. I give you that. He beat UCF, which was an impressive win. Other than that, he's beat nobody. And
other than those teams, if you take off the ranked losses, what is he sitting at?
3-0.
Exactly.
Okay, but should Florida not be able to beat a ranked team? I just don't understand what the argument is.
And whenever he beat somebody that was close to his competition in Kentucky, he dog walked the Cats.
Well, that's okay. Kentucky's been such a weird program, but I'm just saying, I don't know. We'll see if he goes 5-7 and keeps his job. And then we just have to wait and see. That's all I'm saying is just let him just wait and see because the problem you have is that if you fire him before the transfer portal opens, that roster is fried on whoever takes it. And that's why I don't think you're going to get anybody, because if you fire him, and that's going to be the issue now with firing coaches, you can't fire him before the portal opens because them kids will leave. They're going to leave no matter what. What do you mean?
Not if they go through spring ball and at least give it a chance.
What, are you going to fire them after spring ball is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying when the portal opens up, they fire him after it's closed.
Well, then it just reopens.
No, it's only open one time this year.
No. Anytime a coach gets fired, the portal opens for that team. So it doesn't matter when you fire them, the portal's open.
That's why I don't think you fire him.
So you just never fire a coach because you don't want to lose kids?
No. I think if he goes out and has another shit year like this year, another year with Lagway, I don't. But yeah, like Zach says, I don't think he's lost the team. I think him and Jeff Levy have the 2 hardest playing teams in the SEC right now. Mississippi State. Good. But
let him upset one of these last 4 opponents, and he can keep his job.
Just let him go through the Lagway year. Let him have another year with Lagway and see what it does.
I mean, that's not up to me. I know the boosters already want him out. The boosters already have the money to buy him out.
I don't. But you know what?
I know the boosters have the money ready to go. I know that's a fact.
But
But
if you could say you could go spend $26 million and get rid of this guy.
But here's the thing that you're not thinking is if the boosters already have the money ready to go, is the AD willing to lose his job over keeping him? Because if they want him gone that bad, the AD will go just as quick.
Well,
trust me, I know. I've lived. I wasn't alive, but my family's lived through that. They had an AD that quit his job because he didn't want to fire
a little bit on the backside. Yep. There's been some reassurances made allegedly that if they go through and do this, it's not going to be good, because the thing that's the other issue is that when you don't treat coaches fairly, it's hard to get somebody else in that position that's in the same profession.
I don't think it would be unfair to fire a coach that goes 5-7.
It has 7 ranked losses. Georgia's won 56 games in a row.
I'm aware. Not in a row, but yes.
But
against everybody not named Alabama, yeah.
Against everybody not named Alabama. So you're asking him to slay the beast there, and then he was playing with the third-string quarterback and was leading at halftime.
I'm not asking him to beat Georgia, but how impressive is that right there? I mean, just to shift gears here, how impressive is that?
Oh, I think Kirby has got in. The thing with Kirby is that it doesn't matter. It's going down because they keep swapping out coordinators every so long, and the machine keeps on turning. Mm-hmm. So I think Kirby's on one of the most impressive runs in college football right now.
Yeah, it really is. And we'll see if it continues. I mean, they got a tough schedule coming up here in the next few weeks. Who do they have this week? I forget. Is it Ole Miss?
What is
LSU?
What is this?
The 9th. They have Ole Miss this week. So they got Ole Miss at Ole Miss, and then obviously they got Tennessee, and then they can just walk into the playoff after that.
Yeah.
So they got 2 tough ones coming up. We'll see if they continue. I mean, it's going to be hard to see them losing a game until maybe the SEC title game.
Yeah,
assuming they make it.
Yeah, I mean, the SEC's been weird this year, so
yeah.
But I don't count out the fact that there could be somebody that loses one they shouldn't, like Texas A&M, South Carolina, that bludgeoning.
Yeah, I think we kind of not saw it coming, but we thought that was possible.
Oh yeah, especially night game being loud, and then
oh my god! And South Carolina, I don't care what anybody says. South Carolina is one of the most underrated environments in all of college football. It is one of the craziest places ever. It's and you could tell even just on the TV broadcast that place was so crazy.
Oh, the camera was shaking when Sellers ran in one of the touchdowns.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Speaking of crazy environments, this Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, you're going to have Michigan at Indiana. Have you ever been to? You've been to a game at Indiana, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the quietest place I've ever been. But they've never been this good, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's the killing part about it is Indiana has never been to the
But this one will be interesting. I think as much as I know Michigan is down, and we already talked about the fact that they aren't even bowl eligible yet, which is hilarious. But this is kind of Indiana's first real test.
Yes.
Kind of. Like, I mean, it's their first like big program, I guess. I wouldn't even know. I don't know if I call it a test. Indiana's been walking through their schedule like it. I mean, they haven't even broken a sweat. But I think Michigan maybe gives Indiana a little bit of a run for their money here. I think that defense stiffens up. I think Indiana maybe struggles to move the ball a little bit. What or do you see Indiana just blowing them out?
It depends. When it comes to the Indiana thing, I think that we've got. I think it's going to be a tale of two halves. Indiana is. I wouldn't say call them like topsy-turvy or inconsistent, but they start fast and Signetti keeps the pedal to the metal.
For sure.
It is, and he has been taking belt to ass to everybody. I mean, the team that got the closest to him was Northwestern.
Well, their closest game was Washington.
Well, Washington, but Northwestern had them the most on the ropes. But I just, like Brendan says here, I think Indiana's biggest test is going to be the Ohio State game.
No, I think he meant tonight. This weekend's going to be the biggest test so far for Indiana, and then he was right about Ohio State, Penn State last weekend. But yeah. Either way, Ohio State's obviously Indiana's biggest test all year. But this weekend's going to be their first, I think. And again, Michigan's 5-4. Michigan's offense is completely inept. Michigan's defense hasn't been as good, but their defense is still good enough to at least challenge this prolific offense of Indiana's. But other than that,
one thing that I was told this week was that if you look at the D coordinators really struggling, they're all ex-NFL guys that are on the struggle bus.
I'd have to look at who they are. Like, are you talking about Wink Martindale?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wink sucks. We all know that.
I mean, I seen it last year in New York, and it was. Well, so I'm the way that they've been coordinating their offense at Indiana. It says to me, I think they're going to light the scoreboard up on old Wink boy.
Well, if that's the case, it's not going to be close at all, because the one thing Michigan can't do is light anything up. Like, I don't even know if they could light a blunt up, honestly.
Well, it's legal there.
it's legal here now too.
But, oh yeah, that is right.
Yeah, but like I'm telling you, they don't know. Like their scoreboard is probably doesn't even need lights. Like, but I do think old Wink might have they just have enough talent. Like, they have 4 first-rounders on the defense, probably at least 2 for sure. But I just can't. What
is Will Johnson going to play this week?
I don't know. That's a good question, because if not, they are missing obviously one of their key guys. Hopefully he is. I'd like to see him. Honestly, though, if I'm him, why?
Yeah, I mean, the season's fried.
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm him, if I'm Mason Graham, I might consider opting out for the rest of the year. Like, we're 5-4. There's nothing. This is pointless.
I think in Ann Arbor, it is definitely basketball season.
Which their basketball team's supposed to be better. We'll see if they are. But yeah, what a drop off from last year. Yeah, I think Duke and I talked about it a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, and looked it up. And it is one of the greatest falls from grace of all time. Like, there's never been a national champion in college football history that has gone from the heights that the national champion's at to this level of despair this quickly. Like, it is next level.
I think just one.
Yeah, I forget who it was. You did find one that was close.
66 Michigan State won a share of the Natty, I believe, with Pitt or something like that. It went 3-8 the next season.
Yeah, so It's been a long time, damn near 60 years since somebody's gone from national champion to this bad. And this is this is before there's any sanctions or anything.
Yeah.
But moving on a little bit here, let's quickly run through some of this last weekend stuff. Obviously, we touched on some of it, but real quick, you want to reset the show real quick?
Yeah, and I have an announcement to make. We just got a notification that we are over 2,300 watch hours on our road to 3,000 to getting this monetized, and we couldn't have done that without everybody out there tuning in each week. And with that being said, if you're new to the show, please hit the like and subscribe button and to help us boost this show even more. We got a couple live shows planned, and we're just trying to take the show to the moon. But hitting that like and subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you know when we go live, helps maximize your experience here with the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. So with that being said, go ahead, Carter.
Yep, absolutely. Also, if you're on YouTube, let me know who you think the first, when the college football playoffs come out tomorrow, the playoff rankings come out tomorrow, what fan base is going to be the most upset? Put that in the chat for me. We'll talk about it here in a minute. But recapping some of last weekend, we got Ohio State, Penn State. Obviously, we talked about that Saturday a little bit. It lived up to all the hype. Went through and watched the film today, and kind of what I thought I saw on TV was exactly what I saw on the All 22. I mean, it was pretty convincing that Ohio State went out there and, in all intents and purposes, imposed their will on Penn State, both defensively and on the offensive line. And I will tell you what, that last drive by the Ohio State offense. And did you see Donovan Jackson's comment?
No. What did
he was asked about what they had to do as an offensive line to prove themselves, and he said, "We just had to go out there and drop our nuts."
Oh yes, I did see that on 11 Warriors.
Yeah, and it's so true, man. That last, I mean, think about how crazy this was. And I forgot it in the moment. And then when I watched the All 22 film, I was like, damn, that's impressive. They got the ball back. All right, Zach, we'll get to you in a second. But they got the ball back on their own 1 yard line with 5 minutes and 13 seconds left in the game. That game was far from over. Like they had to impose their will, and they drove the ball and held the ball for 5 minutes and 13 seconds, and they didn't throw a single pass. That offensive line went out there and said, fuck you, we're running it down your throats, which is something that every Ohio State fan wanted to see, and everybody should hold on to that. That's going to catapult this offensive line to the next level. But on top of that, the defense played it phenomenal. The only things you could really point to that need improved is Will Howard's got to take better care of the ball.
I'm not gonna try to beat Will Howard up as much on this aspect of it. I think I'm more concerned with Penn State because last year Michigan had a drive where they ran the ball up. What was the center? Drake Nugent's ass for like 22 times in a row. Yeah. And they just got their will broken. Ohio State does the same thing, completely runs it, X amount of times and kills the game. Penn State, I think if we should be talking about anybody getting removed, it should be James Franklin. We talked about that a little bit.
We already talked about that Saturday for sure. He should be gone.
We talked about that on Saturday, and I think that where they're trending to is not in a good spot because you can't beat anybody that you need to beat to make it to progress your season forward.
Well, what was the stat there? 1-13 against top 5 opponents or top 10 opponents, something like that. They're 1-13 against top 5, and then 3-18 against top 10 or something like that. I forget what it is, but
Yeah.
he's really bad against both, obviously. And his one top 5 victory is 2016 against Ohio State, and I was at that game. It's fucking brutal, but and I'll touch on this real quick just because Zach has to talk some shit. I am a Notre Dame fan. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I went to the University of Kentucky, so I do root for Kentucky basketball. I went to the University of Florida several times when my brother was there, so I can speak on that as well. So that's how it makes sense, Zach. But regardless, I'll talk about what I want.
Criticized? Are you getting criticized?
I am, which is fine. It's fine. Criticize me. I don't care. But yeah, this is. Did you see this? Brennan just said. Did you see the video of the fan calling out Franklin after the game?
Yes, I did see that.
My first question is which video? Because I've seen 2.
It's the one where he's going to ring the bell, and then Franklin wants to say, "Oh, what's your name, buddy? What's your like?" What
yeah.
What does it matter what his name is?
They still that one is wild because the insecurity you must feel as a head football coach to go up and ask a drunk college student what his name is because he's yelling shit after you lost another big game. Like,
yeah,
dude, just move on. Like, just walk away. And then the other video I saw is obviously I don't feel bad for him because he earned it, but I do feel bad for the fact that his family has to be with him while he's doing it. But walking through the tunnel and you just hear the entire stadium and everybody cheering fire Franklin, which that's gotta suck. Like if you're his wife or his kids, like that can't feel good. I can't imagine if I was going, like, let's say the receivers had a really bad game when I was at a game at Ohio State and I'm walking off the field with my brother and his kids and they're just chanting fire Zach or something. Like I'd be like, God damn. Shit sucks, but it is what it is.
That's why you make the big bucks, buddy.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Zach wasn't, but
I had an argument with somebody about something similar to that. About the fans think they can say whatever they want, blah 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 blah, and it's like, well, whenever you start taking taxpayer money, kind of.
And just when you make millions, you can deal with fans. I agree to a degree. I think that fans should be allowed to say whatever the fuck they want to coaches. I think they should be able to criticize coaches as much as possible. And coaches are, and no coach, I at least I don't know any coaches that get upset when fans do that.
But also sorry to cut you off here, but on the other side of it is that if you say some dumb shit to a coach and he says something back, you got to be prepared for that.
For sure, but like as somebody that grew up around that, coaches shouldn't respond to fans specifically. If the media member says something, that's one thing, but like to fans, like you got to just let that shit go and just go.
Yeah.
Now, where it crosses the line is when it involves their families or it involves threats or anything that like for instance, the one thing that was made, recently in headlines here in Columbus, I do live in Columbus, so I get a lot of the Ohio State news, was the fact that Ohio State had to put an armed police officer at Ryan Day's house following the Oregon game. When there's threats and stuff that are threaten the safety of your family, I think that's crossing the line. I don't care. He makes $10 million a year. Nobody signs up to be threatened like that. Like if you threaten me on social media, I don't give a fuck. But the fact that they actually had to place armed security and shit like that's just like, come on, take it down a notch. But yeah, absolutely. When you make the money, you deserve all the criticism. I have no problem with that. But other than that, James Franklin, obviously, I think it's time to move on from him. He's had more than enough time. In other news on Saturday, I called this. I'm just going to say it. I know Duke took Clemson -10. I said I thought Louisville could do it and would do it. And boy, was I right. Louisville goes out there and Dabo Swinney just takes some more medicine because he's a fraud. and his program is bunk, and they are just completely destroyed. Like, and you were trying to sell me on that Dabo's not cooked, but
He's not.
cooked. How is he not?
He's not.
Well, look at his schedule. Who's he beat? Who's he beat?
Dabo ain't going nowhere.
I didn't say Dabo's going anywhere. They're not going to fire him.
That's all that matters. I think that.
No, I just meant that the Clemson dynasty is over. They're never getting back to relevance under Dabo Swinney.
I think if Kirby leaves Georgia, he can.
Well, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, not for another 20 years. Dabo will be gone before Kirby is. Where the hell's Kirby going?
I don't know. Yep. Maybe he might go to the NFL. Falcons.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, called it. Louisville, Clemson is a fraud. I knew they were a fraud. They lost to Georgia like I thought they would. Not as bad. They did play Georgia better than I thought they would, but they still lost by a few. And then they played the Sisters of the Poor. And then they thought they were good. And Louisville, who I don't think is a good team, came in and shut them up. And so that was.
I think there's the Clemson defense to me is very perplexing. I think that they've had instances where they look like an NFL unit, and that they have instances where they look like a JV squad. And I think the inconsistency on offense has gotten out of hand. And Richie says Patrick Mahomes got flattened in the Monday night game.
Well, good. I guess. I like Pat Mahomes. I have nothing against him, actually. But
I think his dad's a moron, but outside of that.
But this one, first thing, Joe, I agree. I think Freeman, given time, will be successful. I don't know if he'll get the time. This year's looking all right, but I don't like that you put now probably 11-1 in your chat. That just gives me way too much anxiety because there's still games to play. There's still games to play, and the last thing Marcus Freeman needs is some stupid loss to Army or USC, or God forbid they lose to 1-8 fucking Florida State this weekend. So let's not count our chickens before they hatch. I thought we were good against Northern Illinois. It didn't work out. So, I know all the stats. You don't have to throw stats at me. I know them. But let's get to our college football playoff rankings, because we put together our own little rankings here, and we'll see how accurate they are. I will say I heavily influenced these rankings, so Duke doesn't bear as much responsibility for them as I do. Now, I don't say that, but yeah, you can come. Hey, come on over, man. I will gladly. You're more than welcome to watch the SC. I love watching the USC games as of recent. Now, my early years as a Notre Dame fan, I would cry during USC games, but let's throw it up here. Obviously, they're releasing the rankings tomorrow. So these are our best guesses, not even guesses. This is what I think the rankings should be. And I don't believe the committee will follow suit and actually go through with what they should do. But here is our rankings for week 1 of the playoff committee. And just starting out, obviously, I think Oregon #1 overall is the most given, easy thing I've ever seen. You have any issues with Oregon at 1, Duke?
No, I think Oregon deserves 1.
Yeah. So I got Oregon 1, Ohio State. I'm putting Ohio State at 2, and I think the committee might as well. And here's why. I think Ohio State has impressive wins, or an impressive win last week against Penn State. Their only loss is to the #1 team in the country by 1 on the road. So I think they're going to get credit for that. And I think they're going to put Georgia at 3 because Georgia has a tougher schedule at the end to give them the opportunity to jump to 2. So they're going to obviously like play it that way. Just given off what the committee's done in the past, I think that's how they play it. What do you think about 2 and 3?
I would flip-flop Georgia and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I
think that one could go either way. I just think for the initial rankings, I think the committee puts Ohio State at 2 specifically because they know Georgia's schedule is tough enough that they can jump them later, and that it's a TV show. It's all about ratings.
I just think that when it comes to Ohio State, Georgia, I think the top 3 teams are very, very close. It's going to be unpopular, but the conference champions are going to shape this more. We're just ranking our top 16 teams as a whole here.
18, but yeah.
Well, yeah,
and also, I mean, yeah, and that's what the committee's going to do until the very end. Like, they can't predict conference champions, so they're not going to try to predict who the top 4 seeds are. They're just going to rank them, and then at the end, when the conference championships are done, they'll put the first 4 seeds up and then rank everybody else. But Richie doesn't know about these rankings. Well, Richie, oh shit, what just happened?
Oh, there it is.
All right, cool, got it back. Richie screwed me up. Typical. But so the number 4, I got Texas. I think that one should be pretty much a lock at 4. What do you think?
I'm not as down on Texas, but I think that I think they have a quarterback issue.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that there's going to come a point in time where Sark is going to go to Arch, and because Quinn Ewers hasn't played great this year, and the numbers and all that, but you could put up 52 points against Colorado State, but when it was crunch time at Texas, when they were playing Georgia, I mean, Sark went to Arch, so
yeah,
he went to a sophomore in the middle of the biggest game of the year. So let's not forget about that. He was looking for a spark, and I think, do I think Arch long term will be better than Quinn Ewers? I think there's more upside there, so we just
maybe. But yeah, so I think body of work. Obviously, Texas has some obviously better wins than Miami, Indiana, anybody else on the list, and their only loss is a tough one. So I think Texas goes at 4. I think Miami's 5 because as far as undefeateds go that don't have quality wins, I think they're more respected than anybody else, and so they're going to get the 5 spot. They don't have any impressive wins so far, but they haven't lost a game, so you can't really argue with them. I think the same can be said for Indiana. Now, I think this is where I think my rankings or our rankings in the committees will differ. I don't think they're going to put Indiana as high as I have them right here. However, the same argument I just made for Miami is the reason why Indiana should be top 6.
The only thing that's going to help Miami is that win over Louisville.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, especially because Louisville just beat Clemson, so Louisville will probably be a top 25 team now. So that's why I would have them 5. I think Miami, but Miami also has struggled. They struggled to beat Louisville. They struggled to beat Virginia Tech. Indiana has not struggled with anybody.
And so that's
just why I have that's why I have Indiana 6. I think that Indiana should be 6. I mean, of everybody below them on that where I have them, the only 3 teams that have a loss that I have above Indiana have impressive wins. The teams with losses below Indiana don't have really impressive wins. They just have impressive losses, right?
Except because Tennessee lost to Arkansas. BYU's undefeated though, but they're in the Big 12.
And so Tennessee at 7, I think, because they do have more impressive wins than BYU. They do have a bad loss to Arkansas, but they've won some games, obviously. And then BYU undefeated. Projecting they'll be a Big 12 champion, but I think as long as they don't lose, they're going to be obviously in. Penn State, I have at 9, simply because their only loss is to Ohio State, and Ohio State's the number 2 team in the country, and they only lost by 7.
Also, let's not discount the fact that Penn State's schedule is bad.
Yeah, I understand that. And if they had gotten blown out by Ohio State, I wouldn't have them in the top 12. But they played them close. It was a tough game. I'll give them credit for that.
I also think that when push comes to shove for Penn State is how do they bounce back from this Ohio State loss?
Yeah. Well, the good news is they don't have to play another team with a pulse the rest of the year.
But the other thing too is you can't let Ohio State beat you twice.
Well, I don't know how that would happen.
But I'm saying you can't let them a hangover.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I was like, I don't know how they would ever see each other again. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Also, real quick before we finish out the rankings, I want to end the show. We just got a question here, Brendan. So we'll get to it. So if you guys have questions or anything you want us to answer or talk about, throw it in the chat now. We'll end the show with any questions you guys got. But then we'll finish up these rankings and we'll get to any questions you guys put in the chat.
No hard out tonight, Carter.
No, yeah, we're good. We can take as much time as you guys want. My kids are with their mom. I got nothing. But
no work for me.
So BYU at 8, like I said, Penn State, I think it gets the benefit of the doubt because they're they have a decent loss, and Alabama. This one I think people are going to be a little sketchy on because they do have 2 losses. Alabama I have at 10, and I'll tell you why. But give me your thoughts first.
Okay, with the Alabama, this is what it is. There are, and Ole Miss is on here. So Alabama is in a playoff every week. Ole Miss is in a playoff every week. Those couple of teams right there are in a playoff every week, and it's going to separate themselves. Because I think at 3 losses, it takes you out of the playoff picture.
Oh, for sure. 3 losses, you're out. And so that'll clear things up for sure. And now the reason I have Alabama at 10 is because now Alabama does have the suspect loss to Vandy, obviously. But Alabama has probably the best win in the country other than Oregon.
Yes, I would agree to that.
Right. So Alabama beat Georgia. Now they let them back in the game. If they had beat them, if that game hadn't come close, I might even have them higher. But that's why I have a 2-loss Alabama at number 10 right now, is because while they have the suspect loss to Vandy, they have the second best win in the entire country. So I still think they're capable. But like you said, they still have to play some people that'll let this shake out. And then 11, I have Notre Dame. I think there's a chance that the committee leaves Notre Dame out of the top 12 this week.
Because I could definitely see them putting in LSU or an SMU.
Yeah, which will piss me off because I don't think that's SMU. Okay, you can give the same criteria for why I put Miami and Indiana as high as I did, and SMU should be in the top 12 given that criteria. I just don't trust SMU, so I didn't do it. But I think if Notre Dame wins out and goes 11-1, they're in the playoff. So I put them in now because I think that's possible. Number 12, Boise State. I think they're the best group of 5 team. I think they're going to end up being your group of 5 representative. They've been impressive. They had a close loss to Oregon is their only loss. So that's same kind of, they just don't have a win that matters. Like they haven't beat anybody worth anything, so that you can't put them any higher than that. And now we get into the first 6 out, right? So those are your 12 that get in, allegedly, obviously. But I think the first team out is LSU. I think LSU is right on the cusp of getting into the conversation.
Yep,
go ahead.
if I jump in here,
Mhm.
as far as after the Alabama, but the Notre Dame thing is that when we talked about the Notre Dame schedule, we did, a lot of shows over the summer. Nobody had on their bingo card that Florida State was going to be holding a bag of 1-8. You know
No.
what I mean? So that really hurts Notre Dame scheduling wise, because outside of, Florida State, Texas A&M, the schedule's a little rough. That is something I think that the committee will hold
Well,
against them.
yeah, I think people,
And when
to a
you
degree,
have,
yeah. I mean, luckily Navy and Army outperformed, so that helps a little bit. Louisville just beat Clemson, so that helps a little bit.
yes, and you have Boise there, and as long as Boise has no like wavering moments, they should be fine. But if they do have a wavering moment where they end up losing or something like that, I think Gentry loses the Heisman Trophy. Um, and then your group of 5 representative, I don't know how that's going to pan out. I really have
Yeah,
no idea. And then you got 2 LSU and Bama play this week, as somebody
yeah.
pointed
So
out in
that
the
that
chat.
like as the good thing about a lot of this is a lot of this will weed itself out with the SEC teams. I have 4 Big Ten teams in the top 10, so obviously the other schools are going to be heavy SEC because I've been on record as saying there's going to be 3 to 4 SEC and 3 to 4 Big Ten teams in the playoffs. So that's going to take up 6 to 8 of your spots. The others will just fill in. And 2 of them
Yeah.
are going to be conference champions from the Big 12 and ACC, and one of them is going to be from the group of 5. So that's 9 to 11 programs taken. So then it's Notre Dame, it's random ACC school insert here, it's random Big 12 school insert here.
Joe makes a good point here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, as far like the schedule doesn't look as good as we had hoped for Notre Dame. We obviously, hopefully, Florida State ideally would have been better. USC ideally would have been better, but I think ultimately beating Navy, who is undefeated at the time, beating Army, who's hopefully undefeated at the time, still beating programs like Florida State and USC that aren't as good, but they still have brand recognition. I think all of that culminates to take care of that Northern Illinois loss. And if you're 11-1, Notre Dame's in.
yeah,
But
I and I don't think the seeding is going to be a huge deal. But if we turn the page to the LSU
yeah,
Alabama a little bit here, I think that's a play-in spot to where
no, for sure.
whoever
Anybody
wins
with
that
2
game.
losses in the SEC, they're playing for their life every week.
And also, let's not forget that A&M plays Texas the last rivalry
Mm-hmm.
weekend, and then you
Yeah,
have SMU. Ole Miss has Georgia this week, so Ole
another
Miss
one.
could. Ole Miss, that's another potential playoff game.
It's
Army,
a play-in for Ole Miss. Georgia could get in if they lose, potentially. But if Ole Miss loses, they're out. If LSU or Bama lose, they're out. SMU, honestly, I think SMU's only chance to get in is to win the ACC.
but I think I was really big on the ACC getting 3 teams. Now that
That's
Clemson
not
has
happening.
lost, I think you get 2. In
You
the Big
might get
12,
2,
and the
but the
Big 12 gets
easiest.
1.
Okay, so yeah, let's break it down. Big 12 gets 1, ACC gets 2. Let's say it's Miami and SMU. That's 3
SMU.
spots gone. Group of 5 gets 1, 4 spots gone. That leaves 8 spots for the SEC and Big 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks. I could see that.
Just because I think there's going to be, I think 3 losses is going to be the jump off point. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you're ACC or Big 12. If you're 10-2, we're not putting 9-3
No.
LSU in over.
Ooh, I don't know about that. No, if you're
I don't.
10-2, if you're 10-2 Clemson, I think 9-3 LSU gets in over you.
I don't know about that.
If it comes down to that. I agree, Joe. I think the Big Ten gets
It
4.
depends on who the losses are. Because, see, Tennessee's got a bad stain on their record because let's say they drop 2 more and they lost to Arkansas. Arkansas got blown out by Ole Miss. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I know, but Clemson lost to Louisville.
But Louisville has.
I know, I understand. Anyways, we don't need to. Let's finish this out.
Go down that.
Yeah. And so, and then Army. I think Army is a wild card here because
this is. I know we're done with this, but this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. I don't want to see rematches in the playoff. Like the year we got stuck with LSU, Alabama, when it was like a 6-3 game.
Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about this right here. What are your thoughts on round 1 play-in games being conference championship? You'd have to completely revamp the playoffs because that would be incentivizing not making the conference championship game. Let's say if you have a 12-team playoff, only 4 of the people from the conference championship weekend are going to get into the 12-team playoff. Then I would rather not make the conference championship game and get in, right? And not have to worry about winning that game. I see what you're saying. It would be an interesting concept. I don't know how they would do it or do away with the conference championship. I think the only problem with that is with conferences of 20 teams, how are you going to determine who the champion is?
Yeah, that's
because not everybody can play everybody. So you have to have a championship game. It's a really, but the good news is hypothetically, and we'll see how it works, the conference champion gets a bye and the loser of the conference championship has to play first round. And hypothetically, you shouldn't get as many rematches as you think you might. I mean, we'll see. We've never done it before, but anyway, sorry, that just caught my eye. But back to Army, I think.
Here,
yeah,
our guy Joe, says revise these rules. I don't disagree with him.
It's going to be. Yeah, I agree with this as well. Committee will purposely seed teams to avoid rematches in the next round. I agree. You're not going to have, let's say the 1 seed is Oregon or Ohio State. You're not going to have Oregon, whoever wins that game, right? It's a 1 seed, Oregon, Ohio State. The loser isn't going to be like an 8 seed that if they win, they face the 1 seed the next round. So then you get another Oregon, Ohio State rematch. They won't seed them that way. I doubt, at least I hope they don't. But so Army, I think Army gets in if they beat Notre Dame. I think if they lose, obviously they're out unless Boise State loses, and then Army might be the group of 5 team.
Not so fast.
What?
You have a 2-loss Tulane hanging out there that's got to go through Army and Navy to win the American.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they beat both of them, and then maybe. But I'm saying if Army loses to Notre Dame and then wins the American, they're a 1-loss conference champion in the group of 5. If Boise State doesn't win their conference, I think Army's I think you have a service academy in the first ever 12-team playoff, which would be awesome. Texas A&M I have at 17 and Iowa State 18. Obviously, both had losses this weekend. Not a whole lot to say.
Did you watch the Iowa State debacle?
I just watched it on the ticker. Weren't we live when it was going on?
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was rough. I went back and watched the ending of it. That's a heck of a way to lose the game there. Matt Campbell. These guys. Iowa State. I've been to Ames, Iowa. It is rough out there, and
hey, don't you shit talk Ames, Iowa? Okay,
I'm just.
Do you know who the greatest coach of all time was in Ames, Iowa?
Yes, Earl Bruce is the last guy to win in Ames, Iowa. So
yeah,
I'm just saying that it is a tall task. It is a tough job out there, and
I've been to Ames. It's a place.
Yeah, in Texas A&M, the one thing I'll have to say about them is that Elko's having a consistency issue, but I think, with the redshirt freshman quarterback starting that game on the road at night at
Yeah.
South Carolina with Beamer, you had the mayonnaise in the back waiting. I just don't think that was it was a good spot. And
No,
especially being a 4-point
well, you
favorite on
go
the
into
road.
South Carolina. I mean, that team was not ready for that environment. Let me tell you.
No, not even
And so,
close.
but ultimately, A&M, I believe. Hold on, I gotta pull this up now because now I want to know what do they have left?
And also Carter,
Yeah.
I am at the point in the chat where I've got the questions ready to go for after you do the Notre Dame report.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
How'd you
I
do
got
that? That's
because
must be,
producer Ed's working
Mister.
double
I don't know
time.
anything, Mister. I don't know anything about technology. He seems to know a thing or two. Huh?
Well, I just
But here,
bookmarked it
let
where I started
okay.
at.
Gotcha. All right, hold on one second. Let me pull up A&M schedule, and then we'll do that. Um, if you haven't, everybody listening, everybody commenting, take this second to just go like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications so that we go off. I just had to do this today. I didn't know how to do it, but if you hit the bell, sometimes it only notifies you of certain stuff because it'll have personalized notifications. I had to change it to all. That way I got like a 30-minute heads up before we go live. Obviously, I'm on the show. I know when we're going live, but for everybody else out there, if you didn't know that, that was something I didn't know. And the only reason I figured that out is because I wasn't getting notified about other shows. But, oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah. So A&M's got Sisters of the Poor, Hugh Freeze, and then Texas. Huh.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
I mean,
Hugh,
they have to win that Texas game to get in.
so yeah, that's pretty much what it is. All roads lead to Texas, and they
Yeah.
cannot let Mr.
Yeah.
Diarrhea, Hugh Freeze, get in their way. That's
Yeah.
that was a stomach
Yep.
ailment.
But
He was telling
but
people he had
anyways,
diarrhea.
also comment and let us know. That's the first time I've ever done a rankings or anything like that. So let me know. I got good feedback, but we'll see what the rankings look like tomorrow, and then we're going to continue doing this every Monday, where I put out our rankings where we think everybody is, and then we'll see how accurate we can get. I'm going to try to get it down to a science. Obviously, it's computing the uncomputable because it's human, right? Like I can't
Yeah.
just put a formula in. But yeah, let us know what you think. But yeah, go ahead, Duke. Hit me with the questions. Let's get these questions going. I just saw another one submitted, so let's get some of these going.
Okay, let me get these pulled up. Right here. So,
Let's stop sharing. Who do you have in Indy? Thanks, Zach. Who do you have in Indy if it's OSU Oregon rematch? And does Indy still make it if the only loss is OSU close in Columbus? All right. I'll take the first part, or I'll take the first crack at it. I think OSU beats Oregon on a neutral site. I think Ohio State, especially if they continue progressing the way they have the past week or 2 weeks, whatever it is. I think. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read as well. I think OSU wins in a rematch, especially on a neutral site. I think the offensive line looked really good. Carson Hinsman looked good. I think if Will Howard can protect the ball, I think they are the better team than Oregon. So I would take I'd take Ohio State over Oregon in that matchup. And yeah, I think if Indiana plays Ohio State close and is 11-1 with their only loss being to the potential number 1 team in the country, I think they do make it. Duke, what do you think?
I think Ohio State can beat them on a neutral site. Now, is the neutral site Indianapolis, or is the neutral site in Georgia or wherever? I think that those teams are so close at this juncture. I almost feel like that it's a roll of the dice. I would like to see Oregon play Ohio State in the shoe before I would give the definite on a neutral site. Does that make sense?
Well, I would imagine that if Ohio State can beat Oregon at a neutral site, you would imagine they would beat them at the shoe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Did I
And
miss any?
did you say if Indiana makes it, if they lose close to Ohio State?
I think Indiana's in. They have to beat Michigan convincingly, and let's say they lose by 14 to Ohio State. I don't think that
Yeah.
is. I don't think that's a death sentence by any
No,
means.
I think a one loss Indiana with wins over Michigan and some of the other Big Ten schools gets in.
Okay, I lost my spot. It moved me in the questions.
Hold on.
Oh, right here, Zach. This one.
Yeah, I think there's one above it, but that's fine. Do either of you feel like they keep adjusting the noise, i.e., BCS, F computer 4 team, not enough 12 team, Wild Wild West now? Who knows what we would get? Here for it, but damn. Yeah, I agree. Everybody keeps complaining no matter what the system is, right? So before the BCS, it was, well, we don't get to see the two best teams play, so how can we crown a champion? Which I agree. That makes sense. Then went to the BCS, but then computers, that doesn't make any sense. They're leaving out teams they shouldn't. 4-team playoff. Well, now that's not enough teams, and now 12-team. So I think I agree. They keep moving the goalposts per se, and my personal opinion on it is what they should do is what they should have done all along, which is take the BCS model, which I think if you historically look at the BCS's success rate is one of the most successful models that we've had in college football to determine national champions, and just expand it to a playoff model. So instead of having a human committee deciding with an eye test who has the best teams in the country, you take the analytic model, which involved, people forget this. They think it was just computers picking the teams. There was
they had to. Yeah, they had 3 parts and inputted the data, but
and so it was 3 parts. It was, you had the human polls, which were 2 parts, and then you had the computer analytics part that was 1 part. So technically the humans had just as much say, if not more. But I think you do that. You can even include the committee as one of the parts in your computer analytic model, especially with AI, especially with the advanced analytics we have now. There's no reason we can't put together a computer model to determine the 12 teams that should go to the playoff. If you want to include group of 5, if you want to give these automatic buys and things like that, you can involve that in it too. It doesn't matter. But I think it's stupid to continue to ask a group of people that honestly, like Condoleezza Rice doesn't watch college football. I don't think she's on the committee anymore, but she was on the committee. Like, you're asking these people to do a job that they aren't, like, that's not their full-time job. So like, how much attention do they actually pay to it? So I think that we're getting closer to the right model. I think it needs refined again, where I think we bring back the BCS as a component to determine the 12 best teams. My personal opinion.
I don't know if they'll ever dust off the computers. They're probably sitting in Tressel's garage, but
well, call it something else. I don't care, but just use an analytic model is what I mean.
But I don't know. Has the committee really gotten anything wrong?
I don't know. I mean, I think 2015, the best team in the country wasn't in the playoffs. And you could probably go through other years and say that as well. I mean,
you can go to last year and say Georgia was the best team in the country and didn't get in the
playoffs. Yeah, exactly. I think the best team in the country last year wasn't in the playoffs.
But then again, we're splitting hairs here because we're adding 8 teams to correct that.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
And also I don't want to add, because I think it goes to 14 next year. I don't want to keep adding schools to where you get non-competitive games like the year Cincinnati, like
Fick,
like, sorry, man, but like dude, you had no business being in the playoffs, and you got your doors blown off. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think adding schools is the right, but I think adding a component. I honestly, like I'm telling you, I know people hated the BCS when they had it, but it was pretty accurate, and it did a great job.
But was the BCS that wrong though?
No, it wasn't.
The BCS being that wrong, and I think there was a couple times, like in 2012, I don't think that Notre Dame should have played for the national championship.
Well, no, but the best team in the country wasn't eligible to play.
I think that would have been a hell of a game.
What, Notre Dame, Ohio State?
Notre Dame, Notre Dame, Alabama.
Well, Notre Dame, Alabama's who played.
Or Ohio State, Alabama.
Yeah, but you do realize that if Ohio State was eligible, it would have been Notre Dame, Ohio State. Alabama would have been left out, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. All right, you missed this one, so I'm going to throw it up here.
All right.
Brendan said, who y'all got if SMU and Miami play for the ACC championship, which I think will be the ACC championship game. Duke, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Okay. Depending upon what I think right now, just upon health, Miami has gotten close every week, or some of the weeks they have gotten close. Do they have enough? I think the one thing that separates SMU from the other teams in the ACC, SMU can score points. And ever since in like week 2, when they made the change to the quarterback, they look like a totally different team. So I like SMU as a puncher's chance. They got a puncher's chance against anybody. Miami, a little. Now, do I think if they lost the ACC championship, do I think that it would completely kill Mario and the whole morale and everything like that? No, because you still have a chance. But if I was going to bet it with real money and real stakes, I like the gamble. Give me SMU on a neutral site.
Yeah. I think if I had to pick one right now, and this is completely biased off of seeing them absolutely dominate Pitt last week, and I don't think Pitt's a phenomenal team or anything, I'm taking SMU, honestly. I think SMU wins that game. I think it would be absolutely hilarious, and it would be the biggest troll of all time to Miami if SMU came in their first year and won an ACC championship when Miami has never done it.
In like 20 years, right?
Yeah, it would be absolutely awesome. It would be one of my favorite things to ever happen. And I think that's the pathway for the ACC to make sure they get 2 teams in the playoff. If SMU wins, I think Miami's still in if their 1 loss is to SMU in the championship game. So I think that's the easiest path for ACC to get both. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. And then
you want to date yourself. Remember when Virginia Tech and Miami came over from the Big East?
Yeah, I do.
That has been a long time.
Yeah, you remember when Virginia Tech played Florida State in the national title game when Mike Vick was the quarterback and it was ACC Big East in the national title? I do.
Yeah, that is a long time
ago.
But
I know. But also, Zach, I didn't start drinking at all before making the rankings, so I didn't start drinking after number 6. So you can hate my rankings all you want. It's fine.
Hey, that's what we're here for. But
yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in, man.
Well, I will say for the handful that's watching over on Twitter tonight, come on over and join the conversation. Like Joe and Zach and Truth Be Told came over, and Richie,
and Brendan
have joined the conversation. We're open to taking questions. So, with the things that we got going on here. And Carter, you want to plug the live shows?
Yeah, absolutely. Quick? So again, we got a live show this Saturday up in Canton, Ohio at Cigar 30 Cigar Lounge. We going live at noon. Getting ready for the day, kind of going through everything going on and getting ready for the Notre Dame Florida State game that night. Obviously, I believe Ohio State plays Purdue at noon. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit.
Snoozer.
So come watch the Ohio State game with us. Watch Ohio State put up 80 on Purdue, because if Notre Dame can put up 66, Ohio State can put up 86. It's only 10 minutes from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If you want to make a day of it, go visit. We'll be hanging out there, having some cigars, maybe a little bourbon, maybe a little, we'll see where the night takes us or where the day takes us. But that's this Saturday, November 9th, 12 o'clock, Cigar 30 in Canton, Ohio. And then a little bit less than a month later on December 7th, Championship Saturday. This one's going to be fun. We're going to be doing another live show from Cigario. That's Sigaro, I believe. Cigario Lounge in Hubbard, Ohio. Again, at noon. We're going to kick it off. We're kicking off Championship Saturday, getting ready for what hopefully will be Buckeyes versus Ducks and all the big games that day. And just come hang out, have a cigar. If you don't like cigars, that's okay. They got drinks, they got TVs, they got everything. We're going to be hanging out and just chop it up, do a little Q&A with the crowd if you guys are there, and everything like that. So, yeah, come hang out, man. I'm excited to do these live shows. We're going to keep trying to do events and different things just to kind of interact with all you guys that, we see you on YouTube, we see you on, Twitter, all that stuff. But come hang out with us, and it's going to be a good time, man.
So with that being said, appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We're going to be back live tomorrow. Richie will be on the program. Carter will be producing with producer Ed. Not really sure what Ed's doing right now, but Ed is lacking big time. But with that being said, if everybody can please hit the like and subscribe button, help us grow this program so we can do more live shows and do things like that, because we're just out here doing it on our own time, and we appreciate the conversation. So if, with that being said, if you can hit the like and subscribe button, that helps us out tremendously. And also check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, if you don't like the video version, or if you're on the run, and that's an option that's good for you. But with that being said, Carter, I ain't got nothing else. You got anything?
Yeah. How about them kitties? Nice little 50-point dub tonight.
Yes, Mark Price is going to continue to beat the.
He's never going to lose, baby. Undefeated. Cats by 90. Let's go.
Okay, we've started this. Oh no! All right. With that being said, everybody enjoy some college basketball. Enjoy some the Monday Night Football is on right now. So with that being said, everybody take care. Have a good night.